Local variables are the variables declared inside a function or a code block. It sometimes refers to the automatic variable, but term local variable is more commonly used. Local variables are accessible only within the code block in which they are declared. A code block always begins with an open curly bracket and ends with closing curly bracket. Local variables are having some characteristics. The scope for local variable is limited in the block within which they are declared. Lifetime for local variables are starting when cursor enters into the code block and it destroyed when exiting the code block. Variables with the same name in a different code blocks are considered distinct and unrelated. By default, local variables are stored on the stack. They can be initialized when declared and value is reset each time the code block is entered. The same characteristic we are going to understand using the example. Example contains local variable in different function, local variable inside a inner block, and local variable inside a conditional block, and local variable versus a static variable. Let's go to the code and see this in more detail. In this example, we have define some functions to demonstrate the characteristics. Function 1 and function 2 are having the same variable name, but the value assigned are different. Now let's try to run this example and see the output. As you can see, breakpoint is hit. There is no local variable. Now let's go to the function code block and see the local variables. As you can see, the local variable is assigned with the value 10. Now let's continue and enter into the other function. As you can see, there is no local variable available when we are exiting the code block for function 1. Now let's enter into the function 2 and see the value for x. As you can see, when we are entering, the value is considered 10. Now if I continue, then you can see the value is assigned minus 199. If we continue, then variable x will be destroyed. Now let's see the example with inner block. In this example, we are declaring variable x with value 10. If value is 10, then inner block is executing and we can see the inner block is hiding the value from outer block, and the same we can see from the output. Inner x is 99 and outer x is 10. Same thing we can observe using getString function as well. In this function, we are asking a user to enter a number. If number is 1, then executing this code block. Here, user will enter a name and same name will be printed out in the console, and outside the condition block, s variable will not be accessible. Let's continue and enter the number 1. Let's enter the name, print the name. If you observe the local variable, s is not available. Let's continue for the next example. In counter function, we have declared a static variable with numeric 0 and local variable number 10. If we run a counter function again, then we will observe a static counter is updated to the new value, but local counter will be resetted whenever function is called. Let's continue and see the output. Static counter is 1 and local counter is 11. Let's run one more time. Static counter is 2 and local counter is 11. Hence we can say static variable within a block will retain the value, but local variables will be resetted whenever the code block is reached. Let's see one more function, demo auto function, to see the auto keyword. Let's run one more time the example. Let's go to the function. Here the auto keyword is explicitly mentioned for the variable x, whereas for y there is no auto keyword. However, the meaning for both remains the same and variable y implicitly considering the auto keyword. Let's see the output. As you can see, output remains the same. Let's go back to the documentation and see the further. Important notes. Local variable cannot retain the values between function calls. Each call creates new instance. To retain the value, we need to utilize static modifier. We should utilize the variable declaration near to the initialization to improve the readability and reduce the unintended side effects. An auto keyword can declare a local variable, but all non-global variables are considered auto by default. Hence, it is rarely used. Here we understood the scope and lifetime for the local variables and recognized how local variables are differing across the blocks and functions and best practices for declaring the variable